Welcome to the channel, and on today's episode, we'll be working on my 1988 Mazda 323 GTX. I hope you all enjoy, and make sure you hit the like and subscribe button if you do. First, I'm going to want to get this brake caliper out of the way, so I'm going to put this out right here, set this up, get that loose. I have a 14 millimeter on the back of mine. Slide that all the way out. I'm going to go ahead and grab a hold of my zip tie and feed it right through. I'm able to get it up on the spring and zip tie it up there. Now it's out of my way. Next, I'm going to want to pop this free right here. $17 mil. Take this out the rest of the way, and now I know I didn't damage my threads. So now I'll be able to turn this freely. Going to be this 17 millimeter I have here. It's a 16 on the other side. Both 17 millimeters for me. Oh, this isn't right. It goes washer, bushing, bushing, control arm, bushing, bushing, sway bar, washer. Which is not correct. It should definitely have a bushing in between this sway bar and this washer right here. So we got metal on metal. Hopefully that didn't damage the bar. A 13 millimeter. It's loose. Lift up on this. So what I do here is I take my 26 millimeter and I'm going to strike against the inner portion. Boom! Popped it out. My pry bar. Shortcut cord. Pop it right out. This. So like so. All that is trash right there. Grab me a little shop rag. We have 14 millimeters. We're going to set that to the side as well. Then we have our spindle here. Make sure you get this out. This is very important. Then we're over at the vise. I have made these 90-degree aluminum pieces. Nice and tight. Give it a wiggle. Looks good. Grab one of these. I like to use this one. It's actually for an air hammer. They're my tools, so I'll destroy them how I want. And just all right. Looks like we got the outer section taken off. Let the bearings spill. A little bit easier to see what we're working with now. Oh, look at that. That's destroyed. Now we're able to get that seal off now that the bearings are out of the way. Just trying to get it to move. Go back to this one. Now I can finally get to the end and not tear up the surface of the spindle. See, it's crooked on there. I'm going to flip it all the way over, clamp it down again. Make sure it's on there good and sturdy. There she goes. Ooh, that is so bad. Feels like a Brillo pad. We're going to clean these up. We're going to make sure, oh, look at that. That's where somebody cut it off doing the wrong thing. That's the wrong thing right there. We're going to inspect these. Make sure that the bearing, the inner race of the bearing, this portion, was not spinning on here. What you'll feel with your thumb is you will feel an edge. You can also see where someone has dug in really hard with one of these straight edge versions. Right there. That's what happened. That's what you don't want to do. You don't want to drive anything in between these. You drive it away from it. You can see where I got the little tiniest little piece right there with this at the beginning. And so I stopped. I can easily clean this up. This right here is a little bit more of a big deal. This is unacceptable. Do not cut these off. I have my knuckle mounted in my vise. This side is pointed up. We're going to work on the opposite one because there's two bearings here. One, two. Smack the bearing race in. Breaks it free, and then I just work my way around. There she goes. So I take this out. I'm going to flip it over. Clamp it back down. There it is. Okay. Grab my rag. I'm going to wipe it down because I want to inspect the surface. Make sure nothing's been spinning in here. Making sure that I didn't damage this inner lip right here where the bearings seat. So this is what we have here for our bearings. We have Timken 710323 Timken set 11 bearings, another set 11 because there's two bearings per spindle, and then seal number 4990. I got my fresh rag right here. I'm going to spray the bearings off. There's a coating on them that keeps them from rusting in the package, and I don't want that anywhere near the grease I'm about to put in it. And then I grab my little turbo fan. Take the excess brake parts cleaner that I had on the rag, and I wipe down my race. And I set this one with this one right there. I know this is the rear seal because it's not flat. The other one is flat for whenever the spindle gets pressed into it. I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to set it to the side. I'm going to set this with this so I don't get it confused because I want the race to stay with the bearing. I'll take my bearing race. Put it right there. I know for sure this is the right driver because I just used it the other day on the other side. But if you'd like to test it, needs to slide in this side perfectly fine. Okay, it should not be rubbing on the wall as it goes in. As I get it stuck in there. So there's a little burr on the wall right there. It didn't get cleaned up properly. All right.
We can fix that.
Flip it over. We're going to do the other side. We have our other bearing race right here. Check it from the other side. Looks nice and flush, seating properly. Now we're going to set this to the side for now. We're going to grab a hold of our bearings. And we know this is the back bearing, the bearing that goes on the back side because of which seal is with it. Like this. I am using some Mobile One synthetic grease. It says wheel bearings right there, and that's why I grabbed it. They don't pay me to say this. It's like so. And I'm going to take the side of the bearing and push it into the bearings. And I have on clean gloves, brand new gloves, okay? And this grease is very clean. I'm not dipping my dirty fingers in it or anything like that, okay? It's a very clean job. See people doing it with grubby hands, and I just don't understand what they're getting at. I mean, it's supposed to be a clean, sealed bearing. If we wanted dirt in there, then we wouldn't put seals on it. See, it's really coming out right there. So we definitely got them packed. What I like to do is grab the outside of the race and I spin it on it. I make sure that we got everything packed in there. Spinning it. Take this. I'll work it all over the bearing surface. And I'm just going to put some grease right here. Take my bearing and I set it in there. Take my little bit of excess and I like to work it around the side. Take a little bit of grease and put it in the backside here. Some people will probably tell me I'm wrong. As always, this is not a how-to video. It's just how I did it. I'm not liable for how you work on your car or what you do to it. Plus, this is my car, so I will do whatever the hell I want to it. This is what I use to drive the seal in. I'll show you that. It perfectly fits around it. Still sitting on the seal itself. Sure we're going in even. That's it. Take my nice clean rag. Wipe off all this right here. Flip it up. Now we have our other bearing. And we do the same exact thing. Take my grease. I will start to work it into the edge the same exact way. And I like to spin it. There we go. Now this is the real reason why I'm making the video. This little spacer. They can call it a shim. I have no clue what else they want to call it. I can't even find them online right now. I can get grease all over this bad boy. Put grease around it. Because I don't see the point of there not being grease all inside of here. Bearing, of course, goes right in here. We've already greased this edge. Or the race, I should say. Take that. And put that around the edge like so. $710-323. Okay. Again, I like to put just a little bit of grease in here. I know some comments going to be like, prime example of over-greasing a bearing. Got the hands all cleaned up. Wipe down that seal, so then grab a hold of one that's pretty good size. Right there. Now I'm going to show you all how to preload the bearing and inspect that you have the right spacer. So this is the reasoning for making the entire video, was the preload on the bearing. Now, I am told that you are supposed to do this dry, but at the same time, I would think that that could potentially cause issues. So I went ahead and did it wet, aka greased. Now, if I'm wrong and you guys want to argue about it in the comments section, feel free. Actually, anything that I'm doing today, if you feel like I'm an idiot or I don't know what I'm doing or I'm not a good trained monkey, then please let me know. Bolt and spacer set up right in there. Fits in there nice and perfect. All right. And we're going to pinch it in the vise. Here we go. I'll set that like so in there. And my question would really be, if they wanted you to do this dry, why would they make sure that it perfectly fits inside the seals? So, yeah. Okay. I have that set up just like so, and I can actually spin it. The first increment I do is 36. Tighten this down. Going to tighten it. Hear it click, and then I spin it. So 70. We're going to crank it. Whoa. Where'd you go, new vise? Click. Spin it. 110. 110. Got it. Spin it. Now I go to the last one, which is 145. There we go. There we go. All right. Thanks for sticking with me there, guys. We have the knuckle inside of the vise. We're going to lock it down where the strut comes upward. A 24 mil inch-pound quarter drive beam torque wrench. I know it's a mouthful. I'm going to have to use 2 extensions for this. You're more than willing to argue the fact that I'm changing the torque of this, or I'm not getting the right calculations because of it. I would love to hear the reasons why as well. Don't just say, I had a buddy one time tell me that's not what you're supposed to do. I will agree that if I'm crooked at all, it is going to provide a different torque on it. But if I'm absolutely vertical while I'm doing this, there should be no sort of change just because I'm using 2 extensions. So let's go ahead, and we know that this is the passenger wheel, so the wheel as it goes, it is going to spin like so. 2.2 and 10.4 for these wheel bearings. So I'm going to spin it, and I'm going to look at it, and we're sitting right about 8, which is perfect. It's a little bit on the high side. Nice, looks good. Let's see if we can catch that right there. All right. So now that we have that checked out, we'll go ahead and stick our stuff filter tool to the side, and we'll get this out of here. We need to flip this back over and mount this up here so we can remove this. All right, friends, so what we have to do now is put the brake back onto the spindle. And of course, they mount from the back, 14 mil. 1 7/16 impact here, and this perfectly fits into the back side. Have it flipped over like so, and I'm going to press this piece into it from the top. And the one thing I want to do is make sure that this center spacer or shim, whatever we want to call it, is nice and centered to begin with. Spin this around, so I think the top of this knuckle perfectly rests. I'm going to start pressing the piece on. Make contact. We'll make sure it's nice and centered. Looks beautiful. Okay, here we go. It's touching. I'm going to get underneath, make sure it looks correct. There is no grease on the inside of the bearings. Okay, I cleaned them off. It's all nice and dry. So this is going on dry. We don't want anything to be wet. All right, as far as I know, we're seated. So what I like to do is I like to give it an extra little crank and make sure we're completely on. Now it's come to a stopping. There we go. Okay. Back it off. Put this here. Just like give it a good spin. There you go. So that's nice. Not loose. There's no play in it. That's it. Gorgeous. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you hit the like or subscribe button and hit me up in the comments if you have anything. See you next time.